they've used the free market and then fiat money scams they've created to get full control of things. They say this, they brag. But once they've bankrupted the planet, once they get you in debt and bankrupt you, which is now happening, then you go on government payroll, you go on government dole, and those that aren't are still under government regulation and control. Once they have a controlled, lockdown police state, and once the public's been trained that it's for their own good, then they can have controlled bioweapons releases. Now remember, I was saying this 15 years ago, 14 years ago, because I was reading their own documents. Then people like the Wachowski brothers get it, and, adapt it from a novel, and that also got it, and put it, and make the, film they put out a few years ago, Remember, that date. Mm-hmm. So what was the name of that movie? I'm having one of those moments here. V for Vendetta. V for Vendetta.
Gotcha. Yep.
So what happens there? The government releases a bioweapon and then has the vaccine to cure it. You see, well, you actually find out that that's been declassified, that they've done this over and over again. You find out that the Navy commissioned in the 70s a biological weapon, HIV. You find out that women in Africa who've never had sexual contact and have been tested have HIV. You find out Nobel laureates are exposing that HIV was a soft kill test weapon. Look, I'm just telling you, folks, I told you they were going to pop the derivatives bubble. I told you they were going to bring in world government. I told you they were going to bring in world currency. And I'm telling you, they're going to give you no quarter. They are not going to back off until you expose them.
All right, we're going to take some calls. This is Ian, who's in South Yorkshire. Ian, hello.
Hello there.
Hi, mate. Welcome to Talksport. You're through to Alex Jones.
Hi, Alex.
Hello, sir.
Hi there. What's your take on the whole FEMA camps that are being set up in America that I have seen clips about, that they're going to herd up Americans who don't agree with the American government, and they're either going to exterminate them or they're going to hold them in these basically concentration camps?
Let me pull out my file on that. I was just covering that today on my own radio show.
What are the FEMA camps, first of all, Alex?
Hold on. Well, I have actual news articles, but after the break I'll find it.
Okay.
There's about
let me just tell you.
So far in America that have been set up, and I have seen clips about it, and apparently they're going to be holding facilities for people who've got...
Yeah, let me tell you.
Yeah.
I was just trying to dig out my folder because I have the Rocky Mountain News, and I have the official secret government documents that we posted, but the Rocky Mountain News is one of the largest newspapers in Colorado.
Is that a reliable publication for this kind of thing, the Rocky Mountain News?
Yeah, the Rocky Mountain News is a major newspaper.
Okay.
It's like the Denver Post.
Sure.
These camps actually do exist.
Yeah, it's state preparedness for bioterrorism. Executive orders give governor additional powers. Jim Erickson, Rocky Mountain News. The state of Colorado sees antibiotics, cremate disease-ridden corpses, and under extreme circumstances dig mass graves under executive orders drafted for the use in the event of a bioterrorism attack. Okay, so the media keeps saying there's no mass graves. There's Colorado with the executive order. Here's the Division of Cemeteries, State of New York, Department of State. April 4th, 2007, with phone numbers. It's up on INFOWARS.com. You can call it. We've called it. They admit it's their document. Asking them for each cemetery to get ready for hundreds of thousands dead from a bird flu pandemic. Meanwhile, Baxter Pharmaceutical, according to the Associated Press, mailed out live weaponized human bird flu that has a 90% kill rate if you actually ingest it, to have it mixed with regular vaccines. And this has been in Bloomberg, you name it. So I just wanted to let you know that. But if you want to read all these documents, plans for mass graves confirmed, government surveying cemetery readiness for flu outbreak. That's our JonesReport.com and InfoWars.com article, but in it is the PDF and the Rocky Mountain News and all the other reports. Now, to answer your question about FEMA camps, what happens is we have the Wall Street Journal, New York Times, admitting they've built FEMA camps, but for our own good, they say, during a financial collapse. But then they have national talk show hosts go out and show the few internet rumors that aren't true as a straw man to then discredit the real FEMA camps that have actually been built. So let me just give folks the legislation for FEMA camps in every major U.S. city for U.S. citizens to live in. Let me just give you the bill number so the documentation can begin and all the rumors can end. The National Emergency Centers Act, H.R. 645. And active duty military will run it with local police and clergy response teams to help the citizens. The local clergy have all been secretly trained, now declassified, to tell their flocks to go to the camps. Halliburton subsidiary Kellogg, Brown & Root was awarded the contracts to build 3 of the 1 million man camps. There's smaller camps in every major city and 6 larger regional camps. National Emergencies Act, H.R. 645. H.R. 645, okay? Here's the New York Times. Halliburton subsidiary gets contract to add temporary immigration detention centers. They admit it's also for citizens.
Listen, Alex.
Bush,
Alex,
yeah.
Stay with us. We're going to come right back with this. We're going to take some news headlines. We're back with more from Alex Jones in a few moments' time. Ian, don't go away. 08717 223344. If you want to put a point to Alex Jones, you might completely disagree with everything you've heard, and Alex is up for the argument. If you want to put your point to him, he's happy with that. Maybe you've got another point on some other area of conspiracy you'd like to talk about. 08717 223344. It's The Late Show with Ian Collins.
On DAB Digital Radio and 1089 and 1053 AM.
The building of a new Britain.
The Late Show with Ian Collins on Talksport.
The world is watching. We've only seen the tip of the iceberg.
Welcome
I believe we all have a clear duty now.
on Talksport.
Left off.
The very word secrecy is repugnant in a free and open society. And we are, as a people, inherently and historically opposed to secret societies, to secret oaths, and to secret proceedings. For we are opposed around the world by a monolithic and ruthless conspiracy that relies primarily on covert means for expanding its sphere of influence.
That is JFK speaking. Alex Jones is with us. INFOWARS.com is the website. I'm guessing, Alex, you would suggest that is the speech that maybe got the man shot.
Yeah, a month and a half later, they blew his head off. He gave other speeches explaining how there was a New World Order takeover. He signed an executive order to abolish the private Federal Reserve. That's all covered, by the way, in my new film, The Obama Deception, at InfoWars.com. And I know I'm up here ranting and raving and talking 100 miles an hour. It's because this is all in triplicate. This is all in their own books, own publications. They're very proud of it. It's very funny to them. And I've had globalists, I've had senators walk up to me at events and things and say, Alex, I've seen you for years trying to warn the slaves. They don't want to know. Isn't that proof that they're basically slaves? I mean, and the public, I guess, really do want to be exterminated. I mean, they really do want to be slaves.
Let's bring in Stephen in Edinburgh. Stephen, you're not really in agreement with what you're hearing Alex Jones say.
No, thanks for taking me. Just roughly before I was exterminated as well, Ian.
Go on.
It's quite scary, actually, sitting here in my front living room listening to Alex, because he's a very passionate man, and I'm sure he believes partly what he's saying as well. I just find it ridiculous, quite honestly, and I'll tell you why. Alex sat back in 2001 and spoke about media scripting right on the back of 9/11, which is a whole different off-topic at the moment. But then on one hand, all these films, whether it be the Obama Deception, whether it be the terror one or whatever, all he uses is media scripting. I mean, with respect, he pulled up there something about Rocky Mountain film, Rocky Mountain.
Okay. There's a newspaper.
And whose world is that, a major newspaper? And why is he quoting from it if he believes media scripting is telling the lies that they want us to hear? Can you explain that?
It's more sophisticated than that, sir. And so you can play mental gymnastics and find excuses to ignore what I'm saying, but you're not going to be able to escape the New World Order and what they're going to do to you. So down the road, it's kind of like Churchill said, there may be a time you've got to fight when you've got a really good chance of beating it and take action. Then there's a time where you wait too long and you don't have much of a chance to fight back, but you're forced to. And then there's the worst, you wait way too long and you know you're going to lose, but it's better to fight and down on your feet than on your knees as a slave. And all I can say to you, sir, is that it's more sophisticated than that. I get these handful of questions over and over again. If the New World Order is real and are such killers, why aren't you dead? Well, because I've already put out my information. They don't want to make me a martyr. And they're not in total control yet. That's the whole point. They want to set up their world government. There's a lot of good people in government and in regular society everywhere who are manipulated into going along with this. So the globalist architects have to incrementally condition them to accept the next stage of the plan, and we're there fighting them and having a lot of success. Then you talk about the Rocky Mountain News. Yes, the mainstream media spins, they lie, they get it right a lot of the time. They're not all monolithic evil people. I talk to more and more news reporters that are telling the truth, that are, but you know, this issue was